things to consider is your involvement, your exposure to risk, and certainly your time is important as well. So in terms of involvement, you can certainly, again, you can do the entire job yourself. Simple, end of discussion. You can do some work yourself and hire it out. To me, does it really make sense, especially in the custom home sector? I've seen a lot of folks over the years take on their own construction home build. And it just, if you picture yourself trying to balance a job and kids and everything while trying to put together a very complex project. And if you're retired and you kind of know what you're doing in the construction industry, then why not? So again, at the end of the day, it simply has to make sense. Then you might be simply better off to have somebody that takes the whole holistic approach. Exposure. Are you comfortable dealing with safety policies? Are you comfortable dealing with the Ministry of Labor? Are you comfortable asking the people you hire for proof of insurance? And that's what I would strongly encourage as well. If you are hiring somebody, do not be afraid to ask for proof of insurance. It's there for your protection. All the contractors are used to, or the good contractors are used to providing that information to us. So there should be absolutely no reason that they can't provide that for you. And if they don't, then there might be something to think about there. Also, being the constructor, again, in the eyes of the law, if you're hiring people to do your project under the eyes of the law, you become the constructor. So just be aware of that as well, and the potential liability that goes along with it. Again, be careful with cash deals. What's your recourse if something happens? And also, a tip as well is to definitely, no matter what kind of project you're doing or even type of contractor you're hiring, definitely consult with your insurance agent or broker with respect to what you're doing. So if let's say you're investing $500,000 into your house, and then if you don't talk to the insurance, so your current house value is let's say assessed or insured for $300,000, and then you're adding or investing $500,000, so your value is $800,000, but you neglect to tell your insurance company about that. And what if something happens towards the end of construction where it's 95% complete, where the house gets struck by lightning or some sort of issue? Then what? So again, it's important to let your insurance company know that you're doing a remodel. And then I've always said as well, as long as every party has the adequate insurance coverage, then if something ever does happen, then the insurance companies can duke it out amongst themselves. And what about the expertise of knowing actually what's being done on the job site? So the building code, like even framing, the building code has very specific requirements for nailing structural members, for example. So how do we know as homeowners when we come in and look at it, well, that's actually really cool, but how do we know it's nailed together properly? And at our, this past week, we had a trades appreciation breakfast where we give out awards and all that kind of wonderful stuff. But I was sitting across the table from one of our engineers, and he was telling me that after the trades breakfast, he was going off to see his lawyer because he's got a legal issue with, they specified a mechanical connection between a metal post and a metal or a steel beam. And the guy, whoever the guy was, glued it together. So they used subfloor adhesive instead of like bolting it together properly. But even the guy gluing it together, what's the interpretation of mechanical connection? I guess in his mind he thought glue was mechanical, and I guess it could be interpreted as such. But so how would we as homeowners know when we look at a beam and a post? Do we just assume it's connected properly? So if you are taking on, again, if the more complex the project gets, the more challenging it gets. But do we even have the expertise to know what we're looking at? Time, again, certainly the older I'm getting, time is a very precious commodity. So do you have time to deal with emails? Are you busy? Are you busy professional? Do you have time to take on those phone calls? So what if you're in a business meeting and the contractors in the end, I need that decision now, the guy's waiting, I need that decision, but you can't get out of the meeting. Okay, I'm gonna have to send the trade home. Then, okay, we just lost another day on our project. So again, time is such a precious commodity. And again, even things like, it's one thing to coordinate things, it's one thing to talk about folks showing up, but do you even have time to walk around and inspect what's being done? And then do you know what you're inspecting as well? So at the end of the day, for me, it's really how much pain can you tolerate? So imagine being a fan of your remodeler, and there is such a thing, and it does truly happen. This was actually back to the range hood, or what I'm calling the monster hood. Our clients actually bought the house in that condition a couple of years prior, and can you imagine a chef living with that kitchen for a year or two before he started the renovation? But it was actually quite a fun project, but again, it was one of those complex. It was in a floodplain. There was a lot of parameters and challenges that came with it, including the range hood.